I am the villain in a story about a runaway bride and her secret baby. My father was seconds away from signing over a portfolio of prime downtown properties, a dowry worth $5 billion, to my fiancé Noah Harrison when shimmering text appeared in front of me like a mirage. This villainess is hopeless. In 3 days the heroine will return from abroad with his child. Once that happens she will lose both the man and the money. And that is only the start. After she insults the heroine, the male lead will destroy her family business. Her father will collapse from the stress, her mother will lose her sanity, and the villainess will be handed to hired thugs and left for dead. Then the hero will gift the entire family empire to the heroine. Classic rags to riches. My hand flew to the contract on the table, and I pulled it toward me. Noah looked at me with narrowed eyes, but I met his stare and said calmly, "How about we sign a prenuptial agreement first? If within the first 3 years you cheat, get violent, or turn out to have a hidden child, you pay me triple my dowry. And the engagement settlement is final." Agreed. My fingers tightened around the papers until my knuckles ached. The warm, celebratory mood in the private dining room went rigid. Noah studied me for a long moment before giving me a slow smile that did not reach his eyes. "Tessa," he said quietly, "is this what our marriage is to you? A business deal?" His parents immediately jumped in. "Tessa, dear, you know Noah. You two grew up together. There has never been another woman." But more text drifted past. That is technically true. The male lead barely remembers the drugged one-night stand that created the heroine's child. Does not matter. He still slept with her. The hero belongs to the heroine. But how did this villainess figure it out? Ruling a corporation teaches a girl to assess risk. Being wealthy does not make her stupid. Suddenly the villainess seems a little competent. I am starting to worry about the heroine. My parents tugged my sleeve. "Tessa, sweetheart, Noah is not that sort of man." Even so, I held on to the contract. Noah's voice dropped. "If you distrust me this much, then we should postpone the engagement celebration." He walked out without waiting for a response. I watched his tall figure disappear, and only then let out a breath. Losing a man was inconvenient. Losing $5 billion in Manhattan property was unforgivable. Back home, my parents were furious. They had every right to be. The engagement party was 3 days away. Invitations had gone to the most powerful families in New York. Tonight was supposed to finalize wedding details. Postponing it now meant feeding the city weeks of gossip. But public chatter was nothing compared to what was originally set to happen at that party. A small boy running up to Noah, grabbing his leg, and calling him daddy. A boy who, according to the text, looked exactly like a young Noah Harrison. "Dad, Mom," I said evenly, "you have seen more of the world than I ever will. Tell me honestly, how many men with Noah's wealth and influence are saints? Even if he was once, people change." That made them pause. In the end, they agreed to handle the Harrisons personally. They would claim I was unwell and push the engagement party back by a month. A month was acceptable. The heroine would arrive in 3 days. To make up for the sudden delay, the engagement party was rebranded. 3 days later, the same guests gathered for a celebration of the Ford Corporation winning the bid to develop a massive public plaza downtown. Champagne flowed, people strategized and networked, and the Harrisons attended as usual. I had barely stepped out of my car when new lines of glowing text appeared. "Here it comes, the first meeting between the villainess and the heroine. Time for the classic hero swoops in to help moment. The adorable little boy is here to help his mom find his dad. The villainess is going to regret moving the engagement. She missed her chance to secure the hero, huh?" I scanned the ballroom instinctively, searching for a child. Before I could spot one, Noah approached me. He looked flawless in a black suit and said quietly, "As you requested, the prenup will be notarized and delivered to you soon. And the engagement party will continue as scheduled in 1 month." His gaze grew curious. "But I admit I am interested. Who has been advising you?" Noah had always been logical rather than passionate. If not for our parents, he probably would have overlooked me forever. He used to think I was just another empty-headed socialite until I got into Wharton. Only then did he consider dating me. His romantic confession had been a flat, "I may have misjudged you." If he ever cared for me at all, that spark was long gone. Now, he probably thought I was a calculating strategist. I smiled at his probing look. Anyone can appreciate a good insurance policy. With a $15 billion penalty clause and a $6 billion engagement settlement on the line, I could find any man I wanted. Just then a ripple went through the entrance. A young woman in a plain white dress, wide-eyed and frantic, hurried inside. She grabbed the nearest person and asked, "Excuse me, have you seen my son?" The woman grabbed one of our security guards by the arm. He frowned and tried to usher her away, politely but firmly. "This is a private event, ma'am. You need to leave." She was trembling near tears. "No, my son is missing. He is only 5. I have to find him. Please let me in." The guard held his ground. "Please wait at the entrance. If we find a child, we will bring him to you." She grew desperate. "I am his mother. Let me through, or I'll call the police." In the scuffle, she slipped on the marble and cut her pale leg, blood welling on the floor. At that instant, a small boy bolted from behind a floral display and charged the guard, sending him sideways. "Don't you push my mommy," he cried. The woman scooped the child up, the two of them clinging together and sobbing, a pitiful sight. Words scrolled in front of me, mocking the scene and telling their version of events. Noah watched, his expression tightening. Then he stepped forward, offering his hand in a show of concern. "Let me help. I will have someone take you to the hospital." The woman froze as if seeing a ghost, then tried to flee with the child, but the boy spotted Noah and shouted with pure joy, "Daddy, Daddy, Mommy, I found Daddy." The boy's shout drew every head. Before anyone could reach them, they vanished into the night. My father appeared beside me, voice low. "What was that?" I shrugged. "Cool, I don't know, but he called him Daddy. See, the prenup made sense." Whispers spread, the atmosphere soured. After the gala, the Harrisons came to explain. Mrs. Harrison insisted, "Tessa, there must be some misunderstanding." Noah, defensive for the first time, said he could not possibly have a son. He suspected the woman was scheming. The floating text in my vision commented on how the plot was unfolding and suggested how events would later straighten out. I raised an eyebrow and asked, "Are you sure you do not want a paternity test? What if there was a night you do not remember?" Noah's jaw worked. He seized my wrist firmly. "Tessa, I have never touched another woman. I will find out who's behind this, and our engagement will continue as planned." "Fine," I thought. "We will see how she gets hired first." I patted his hand lightly. "Don't get hysterical. It's only $15 billion. You can afford it." Then I turned away and watched him rip his tie loose in frustration. After the scandal, my parents stopped talking about the wedding. Rumors about Noah circulated, people saying he had a secret son, that the Ford estate disturbance explained the postponement. At a joint progress meeting at Harrison Industries, I felt the prickling stares. Outside the glass conference room, HR led a group of new hires on a tour, and among them was the woman from the gala, still in white, nervous and honest-looking. I was about to step closer when Noah intercepted me. "Where are you going?" he demanded, gripping my arm. I joked that I had seen someone I recognized, but the tour group had moved on. Noah only noticed a handsome young man carrying coffee, a Yale graduate, who smiled shyly at us. Noah ordered him transferred to the Stanford office, warning me, "Be careful with pretty boys, most just want your money." After the meeting, Noah walked me out. In the main office, we saw the Yale recruit packing up his desk, gloomy. I teased, "If you do not want him, I'll take him as my assistant." Noah slammed his palm on a partition and leaned in close. "Our engagement is postponed, not cancelled." The tension made the whole office shrink back. Then a small voice started to speak. "Mr. Harrison, my files." I looked down, and of all desks, it was the new hires chair, the heroines, that Noah had chosen. His hand was on top of her paperwork. Noah barked at his assistant, who realized the woman must be a new hire. The text in front of me erupted with excited commentary, urging the hero to break things off. At that moment, the heroine, Ava, looked up and saw Noah. She blanched, scrambled to run, tripped and fell at my feet. She tried to explain, apologizing, "I didn't know this was your company. I'll leave." But Noah seized her, demanding answers about how she had gained access to the private estate and where she had found the child. The little boy sprang from behind a pillar, pounding at Noah's leg, yelling, "Bad daddy, you're bullying mommy. You do not deserve to be my daddy." Under the office lights, we finally saw him clearly, and the resemblance was jaw-dropping. Even Noah's composed face showed a flicker of doubt. Whispers rippled across the floor, people saying the likeness was uncanny. Maybe he was a relative, maybe there had really been something. Noah escorted Ava and the child toward the town car, and for reasons I could not quite explain, he guided me into the same vehicle. We were going to resolve things in front of both families. On the way, Ava said her name was Ava Miller, and the boy was Nicky. She admitted Nicky was hers, but she refused to name the father. She claimed she only took the job at Harrison Industries to support her son, and that he had slipped out of daycare because he was anxious about her first day. Nikki glared at me, defiant. My mommy would have been eaten alive by a mean woman like you, he declared. At the Harrison penthouse, Mrs. Harrison asked Noah if he was certain. Mr. Harrison was already on the phone, and a video of the office confrontation had started to go viral, with side-by-side comparisons emphasizing the resemblance. The hovering text weighed in, lamenting how the heroine was being judged and speculating about Noah's choices. Noah's expression was thunderous. He asked his mother if she believed him, and I broke the silence. Mrs. Harrison, order a paternity test. If he is the father, I'll call off the wedding. Noah erupted. Tessa, do not you dare. I pointed at the child, genuinely puzzled. Look at that face. Do you not see the resemblance? Noah sank back, furious. The tension peaked until Ava suddenly collapsed to her knees, dragging Nikki down in a dramatic, desperate gesture. I'm so sorry, she sobbed. I never should have come here. If only I had not had him. Then, horrifyingly, she began to strike the child's cheeks, berating him for calling strangers daddy, demanding apologies and threatening to disown him if he did not obey. Nikki screamed and clung to her sleeve. Sorry, please, he wailed. She twisted his ear, and he howled. Even the most hostile observers flinched. Mrs. Harrison reached out, then faltered when she looked at me. When Nikki's ears started to bruise, I moved forward without hesitation, seized Ava's wrist, and pulled the trembling little boy into my arms. Enough, I said, my voice low and steady. You have gone too far. Wait. What happened to the heroine? Wasn't she supposed to be pure and gentle? Why is she striking her child so hard? Is that even her son? This has to be an act, some twisted strategy to gain pity, but it is going off the rails. It looks like she is possessed. This feels like a horror scene. Refund, please. In the original, she adored that child. She would have died for him. Right now, the so-called Villainess is the only one behaving like a decent person. She is the real heroine to me. Nikki was racked with sobs, his small body trembling in my arms. He was terrified, and he could not have been more than 4.5. Ava remained kneeling, tears falling, yet she never once looked at the sleeping child I held. Her eyes were locked on Noah, a tragic tenderness in her face. Mr. Harrison, she pleaded, that night was a mistake. You were drunk. You thought I was someone else. I took responsibility for my choices. If you must punish me, do it, but please, do not take Nikki from me. Please do not separate us. At that confession, Noah looked stunned. His hand clenched on his knee, white at the knuckles. The elder Harrisons were equally shaken. Noah's assistant arrived with a staff file. It showed Ava had worked part-time at a private club in college, and she quit the day after Noah passed out drunk at a business dinner there. Soon after she left school, she became pregnant and moved away. The dates were damning. Still, Mr. Harrison ordered DNA samples from both Noah and the boy, just to be certain. I kept watching Ava. She had been fierce at the party, throwing herself at guards to find her child, yet when she met Noah, she had looked terrified. So, why apply for a job at Harrison Industries afterward? Something about her behavior did not add up. Ava and Nikki were given a guest suite at the Harrisons while the paternity test was processed, which would take 3 days. After the servants escorted them away, Mrs. Harrison turned to me, apologetic. Tessa, she said, none of us expected this. It appears Noah made a terrible mistake while intoxicated. Once the test confirms the boy is our grandson, we will respect your wishes and call off the engagement. We only hope this does not harm the relationship between our families. Business is business, I replied. Feelings are feelings. Noah stood with his back to us, looking out at the city, silent. To ease the tension, I stepped up and placed a hand on his shoulder. He turned, and for the first time in our public relationship, his eyes were rimmed in red. Are you all right? I asked. Without warning, he pulled me into a hug. The familiar scent of sandalwood wrapped around me. He held me longer than he ever had, and when he spoke, his voice trembled. Tessa, he whispered, I am sorry. When he released me, he did so reluctantly, as if letting go of something fragile. Most of our relationship had been distant, my life of travel and social events, his life of work. He had always assumed I was shallow. I had assumed he was emotionless. But in that moment, I saw a raw remorse I had never expected. I laughed nervously. Nikki is an adorable child, I managed. Noah's hand pulled away quickly, as if burned. Thank you, he said, almost inaudible. 3 days later, the DNA confirmed it. Nikki was Noah Harrison's son. A week after that, the Harrisons invited my parents and me to discuss an amicable separation. On the rooftop garden, I spotted Nikki playing with toys and Ava nearby, while Noah watched at a distance, unreadable. When the boy scraped his knee, Noah moved faster than Ava, scooping him up and glaring at his mother. Is this how you watch him? How many accidents has he had since you arrived? If you cannot care for him properly, let the nanny do her job. The boy, who might once have run to his mother, now buried his face in Noah's shoulder and cried quietly. Ava stumbled over a reply. He is just a child, she said. Children are energetic. My sense of unease returned. The floating commentary echoed my thoughts, remarking that Ava used to be a devoted mother and wondering why she had changed so quickly. The child who lived with her every day would notice the first. I turned to Noah to pull him aside and found him already studying Ava, his expression as suspicious as mine. At lunch, Mr. and Mrs. Harrison stood and lifted their glasses. We never imagined this, they said, clearly pained. Ultimately, this is Noah's responsibility. He made a mistake and must accept the consequences. Please accept the engagement settlement as compensation for Tessa's time and feelings. In our eyes, she is family, even if the engagement is ended. They prepared to toast. On impulse, I rose, lifted my glass, and met the room. Their confused faces focused on me. I smiled gently. To err is human, I said, and continued. Noah and I have had years together that were enjoyable. If the match ends, there is no guarantee a better one awaits me. Noah's hand tightened on the table. The Harrisons looked stunned. Turning my attention to Ava, who trembled while feeding Nikki, I said plainly, since Miss Miller has Nikki, the Harrison family should take responsibility for him, but that does not mean Noah must lose his marriage. The spoon clattered from Ava's hand. Her smile cracked into something strained. What are you saying, Miss Ford? She demanded, implying that her years of hardship mattered. $10 million, I said, and a penthouse in a top school district that should be sufficient for them to live comfortably. For most people, it would have been life-changing. Ava's expression, however, was full of fierce resentment. $10 million was nothing compared to the Harrison fortune. She wanted far more. I should have known. She spat. People like you think people like us are worthless. Then she fled the room sobbing, leaving Nikki alone and bewildered. Mrs. Harrison gathered him into her arms. My parents tugged at my sleeve. Is the engagement back on? They whispered. I excused myself, then followed Ava to the garden gazebo, slipping behind a rock to avoid notice. I overheard her speaking into the air, ranting at something she called the system. What is going on? She demanded. In the original plan you said bringing the child would ensure success, but Tessa refuses to break the engagement, and Noah seems to care for her more than the script predicted. Provoke her? Act pathetic. What a mess, she cried. After a few minutes, she hurried away. I stepped from my hiding spot and saw Noah emerge from the opposite side of the gazebo. We exchanged a single raised eyebrow, silent and pointed. No words were necessary. When Noah and I returned to the dining room, my father quipped, a 20-minute trip to the powder room? His gaze shifted to Noah, who had come in right after me. And you were gone for 20 minutes too? Noah only cleared his throat, saying nothing. I looped my arm through his and replied to my father with mock gravity. Dad, some things are best noticed but not commented on. Oh. My father stroked his chin. Seems our Noah still has lessons to learn.
Clang.
The spoon in Ava's hand dropped to the plate, drawing attention. She had returned quietly and was now feeding Nikki as though nothing had happened. Nikki, she said softly, when you finish, say goodbye to your grandparents. Mommy is taking you home. The elder Harrisons protested. Nikki is a Harrison. We can help find you a proper home. Even if you and Noah aren't married, you are still his mother. We'll support you. Ava shook her head, tears forming. No, thank you. I only stayed these few days so Nikki could see his father. Since Mr. Harrison and Miss Ford are engaged, it isn't appropriate for us to remain. Nikki looked from his mother to Noah. In a small, hesitant voice, he said, Daddy, I don't want to go. Ava reacted sharply, slamming the bowl on the table. What is this? A hotel you can stay at whenever you want? Or have you started looking down on your poor mother? Do you want to enjoy a rich life here? Nikki froze, then broke down, running into Noah's arms. You're not my mommy. You're not my mommy. The meal ended in chaos. That night, I stayed over at the Harrisons. Noah was surprised, though color returned to his pale face. I wasn't there for him. While Ava threw a tantrum in her room, I quietly led Nikki to the playroom. His big eyes looked up at me, curiosity replacing the earlier defensiveness. Perhaps he recognized me as the one who had protected him. Nikki, sweetie, I said, sitting down to build blocks. can you tell Auntie Tessa why that person in the other room isn't your mommy? The little boy sniffled. Mommy? Mommy never used to be mean. She never hit me. She played with me, made my favorite snacks, read me stories, but this mommy doesn't. Annie, have I been so bad that even mommy hates me now? I ruffled his hair gently. Not necessarily. Think carefully. Has mommy acted strangely recently? He thought, then nodded. Yes. She got a new ring, and talks to it every day when she thinks no one is watching. I remembered the gazebo scene. She had been holding up her hand while speaking to the system. The text in my vision flickered. The heroine has been replaced by another soul. That's why she's completely different. Where is this sweet heroine? This one is cruel. She even hurts children. I looked at Nicky, head bowed, blocks untouched. He hugged his knees like a small, abandoned puppy. Finally, he whispered, Andy, can you help me find my real mommy? I miss her so much. Later that night, Noah went to Ava's room. He spoke with a gentleness she had never known. Ecstatic, she drank the milk he offered, laced with a sedative, without hesitation. Noah and I waited in the study. Minutes later, a small figure appeared in the doorway, holding up a ring. Daddy, Auntie, whispered Nicky. The diamond glowed with an eerie blue light. Noah dropped it immediately into a degaussing box. The glow vanished. A translucent figure of a woman appeared, kneeling to hug Nicky. Her face was serious. I'm sorry, she said. More than 5 years ago, I found this ring. It spoke to me. It was a system that could alter destiny. I wore it, but it forced me to work at a nightclub, get close to Mr. Harrison. I refused, but it said I would be erased if I didn't follow the plot. It altered my appearance in Mr. Harrison's eyes. That night, he saw your face, Miss Ford. I glanced at Noah, realizing why he had always looked wary of me in the past. The figure continued. I followed the system's plan, went abroad with Nicky. I was supposed to return in 5 years to fight for your fiancé, Miss Ford. But I only wanted a peaceful life with my son. When I tried removing the ring, I discovered the system couldn't erase me. A month ago, it pulled another soul from another world to take over my body. That woman and the system are not allies. She hates Nicky and plans to destroy both him and the system. Miss Ford, if she asks you to follow her, you must not. With that, she vanished. Moments later, frantic knocking at the study door revealed Ava in pajamas. Nicky, are you in there? Noah returned Nicky to her. Ava clutched him tightly. I thought you wandered off, thank you. Noah gently stroked Nicky's head. The boy leaned against Ava, yawning. Mommy, I had to go potty, but I didn't want to wake you. Sorry I worried you. Ava visibly relaxed, patting him playfully. Don't run off again, or I'll leave you behind. Noah frowned. He's just a child. Don't frighten him. Ava forced a smile. You're right. I was just worried. After they left, Noah closed the study door. I appeared from the balcony, raising an eyebrow. So, what's the plan, Mr. Harrison? He rubbed his temples. You know I hate these messes. But no child should lose his mother. I smiled. Funny. I was thinking the same thing. 3 days later, Noah left for a business trip. I stayed behind at the Harrison residence, waiting, and she didn't disappoint. She had searched for the ring, but failed. It was clear now that she and the system were not aligned. The system couldn't read her thoughts, but the real Ava, trapped inside, could. One morning, she joined me for breakfast, Nicky at her side. Miss Ford, Nicky seems to really like you. Thank you for spending time with him these past few days. Of course, I said coolly. He's Noah's son, after all. That makes me somewhat like his stepmother. A muscle twitched in her jaw, but she quickly masked it with a bright smile. True. Well, Nicky has been begging to go to the ocean. The weather is beautiful. Would you like to join us? Sure, I nodded. I'll have my staff prepare the yacht. Oh, no need, she interrupted. I've already chartered one and decorated it as a surprise for Nicky. Let's just use mine. I smiled, recalling that night in the study. All right, saves me the trouble. I sent a quick text to Noah. His reply was instant. I'm on my way. Noah arrived at the marina just as Ava shoved Nicky off the side of the yacht. Without hesitation, I dived into the cold water after him. She ran to the helm, trying to turn the boat to run us down, but her skills were amateur at best. Noah's team, stationed nearby, quickly arrived with jet skis and a rescue boat, pulling Nicky and me from the water. Seeing Noah on the deck of the rescue boat, her face went deathly white, but she remained ruthless. Realizing her plan had failed, she prepared to jump overboard herself. Nikki had overheard her arguing with the ring. She had asked the system how she could escape if Noah never fell in love with her. The system told her that if her host body died, her soul could return to her world. To this interdimensional intruder, Ava Miller's body was expendable. But Nikki's terrified scream echoed across the water. "Mommy." It jolted Noah into action. He dove into the ocean and pulled her back to the surface. I held Nikki close, heart pounding. "It's okay, your mommy is going to be okay." Ava was rushed to the ICU. She had hit her head on the yacht side, and it was touch and go. Noah flew in the world's best specialists, sparing no expense to save her. During this time, I looked after Nikki at home. Like his real mother once had, I ate with him, played with his toys, and read him bedtime stories. Watching his peaceful, sleeping face often brought a wave of sadness. A month later, Ava stabilized, still in a coma. The Harrisons arranged a private VIP hospital suite with round-the-clock nursing care. This went on for 3 years. Nikki was about to start elementary school, and my wedding to Noah still hadn't happened. One afternoon, I took Nikki to visit Ava after school. He chatted endlessly about his week, then took her limp hand in his small palm. "Mommy, when are you going to wake up? As long as you're sleeping, my godmother won't marry my daddy. If this keeps up, daddy's going to die all alone." I playfully pinched his ear. "You little rascal, what are you talking about? Your godmother is a career woman, you know?" He pouted. "A real career woman can have a man and a career. She can have it all." I was speechless. Perhaps Nikki's words reached her. About half a month later, Ava began showing signs of waking. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Another month passed. On Nikki's birthday, as we gathered in her hospital room to celebrate, she silently opened her eyes. She watched with a faint smile as we placed a birthday hat on Nikki's head. He made a wish and blew out the candles. His innocent wish said everything. "I wish for my mommy to wake up and be with me forever. I wish for my daddy to be brave and find happiness. And I wish for my godmother to be rewarded for being good and have endless money in this life, the next, and the life after that." I grabbed him in a playful headlock. "Why is my wish so shallow?" He wriggled free, pushing Noah toward me and sticking out his tongue. "Well, I tried to give you a man, but you don't want him." Noah cleared his throat, giving the boy a stern, but gentle look. I laughed, love bubbling inside me, and glanced at Ava. Tears filled her eyes, but she smiled.